is just fantastic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a look at the post conversations, I say post, from a recent protest that Hasan Piker attended, one that is still, at time of recording, ongoing. It is getting worse and things are spiraling out of control. As it concerns domestic policy in the United States, I'm not going to make it a point to commentate a perspective on it. But I do firmly believe the 1 million plus illegal immigrants in my country should be removed forcibly, because we are paying 8 million a day at the very least, or was 8 billion. We're paying a considerable amount of money to keep them in this country over that of people who live here and pay taxes and are being beaten into submission. Maybe that should give you some indication where I stand on those who enter any country illegally. Hasan Piker, he attended. People have memed it because he doesn't go to protests, something which many of us have criticised him for. But he did go. I think of it much like Greta Thunberg taking a boat to Gaza, was it? Or was it Israel? No, Gaza, because Israel are trying to stop it, or going to stop it, or have stopped it. It's kind of just, to me, a virtue signal from somebody who sits removed from what actually is going on the ground. A vastly complicated situation that some just won't get into their head. Much like UK comedian Dawn French, who put out a video and has since apologised, where she said that what Gaza did was just a bad thing. Sorry, Hamas did just a bad thing. Over 1,000 people died in that day, but okay. Alright, well, I'm glad it's just a bad thing. Some people really don't understand optics. These three people are certainly up there, and I had considered an exhibition of stupid people, but then realised I'd just get too many downvotes. Instead, we're going to look at something because Hasan has a perspective when it comes to understanding him, disliking him, criticising him. And this perspective centres around his belief that the only people that can actually offer any criticism of him have to consume everything that he does, which, by the way, is vast majority dead air. And when he has guests on, awkward exchanges and interactions with them sitting behind him, but lower down so they look subservient, like iDubbbz. You know, the cuck who took his wife's name when they got married. I learnt that from Billy Mitchell, and I googled it to confirm it. Recently, Hasan has had Elon Musk's daughter on his channel. They did some cringe-ass dance.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's crunchy, but that's not entirely.
Hasan tried to copy. It was boring. But the thing I did want to go through was criticising his content and how much of it you need to consume before you can do so.
There's not a single person. I mean, there's no reason to relitigate this over and over again, but there's not a single person out there that actually despises everything I stand for, that has consumed my content directly.
I think you'll find the vast majority of us have. I've bothered to sit here and listen to at least half a dozen of your streams from start to finish. It was a wasted day, and I was glad to be painting Warhammer at the same time. Mostly because your streams are predominantly dead air. You rely on your chat for conversation. You have nothing planned, and when it comes to your positions, most of them are bull. They're horrendous, genuinely diabolical positions. You are 100% a contrarian. You will run counter to what is, at present, the popular perspective. And you don't like it because it means, ooh, okay, I'm going to get challenged and blowback. You might get blowback for attending that protest, as parts of that, going the way it did, would have, if you covered any of it, violated Twitch's terms of service. You know this, by the way, but you're a protected class on that platform. I don't know why you are, but you are. Your content is absolute dog plot, the kind that people don't pick up, because nobody wants to put a bag over it.
They have consumed my content either indirectly with 17-second increments of clips.
I was wondering why he specifically stated that. It's because fair use exists and he thinks that we're taking him out of context. He's also stating it because people take clips from his streams and put them on Twitter, a platform he loathes the owner of but uses religiously to espouse extremist, far left extremist, tolerant left extremist, of course, much tolerant perspectives. He's a champagne socialist who's been caught out. Man loves capitalism and he knows it. His particular framing of argument is, okay, well, you've used 17 seconds, which means, well, out of context, which means I can dismiss you. Kind of like OF detected, opinion reject. Now, if we can find one that rhymes with Fansley, that'd be great.
Or they used to consume my content and they had a severe bout of anger when I said something that they disagreed with, that they internalized heavily,
Well, they were never going to tell you in your chat, were they now? You, whenever you get any dissenting opinions on your chat, in your chat, around your chat, make it a point to highlight that person and then read the comment and shame them for having a differing opinion. I've watched enough of your streams to know you purity test everyone. You gatekeep for your entire community in such a terrible way that your echo chamber can't have dissenting opinions. It can't, because even though that gives you content to be a contrarian, because I don't think you have any actual positions beyond supporting very extremist movements. You don't really have any, unless they're fed to you by your chat that also back those extremist groups and ideas. You are heavily reliant on that. It's why you are both successful and a colostomy bag of failure.
And they could not deal with that back and forth. And then that caused them tremendous resentment. What was once tremendous love and admiration turned into tremendous resentment.
Do you think that perhaps considering how you govern your chat, and I say this explicitly having watched how you and your mods do it, that this was undoubtedly inevitably going to happen? You do not have an iota of respect for your audience. You really don't. You used to, years ago when you were a bit happier, but now you're more self-conscious. Now you're more, I'd say self-aware, but I think that's an ironic term to use with you. You're self-aware in that you know how to maintain relevancy involves you being the absolute opposite to everyone else. Even if that means thinking the Hezbollah flag is the most cool flag in all of flagness. Even if that means backing Hamas and the atrocities that they have committed. You will back them because that runs counter and it means you get more attention. So you can go and buy another $400 pair of trainers or boots. People will not tell you because they know what happens next. Because of your extremism and your inability to control your own chat about it, they will bully that person into submission. That's not okay. Your streams aren't a breeding ground for ideas. They are a breeding ground for extremist leftist stagnation and entropy.
And anger, and now they are super enemies. I also do think about this quite a bit.
I'm assuming you're thinking about things in between those rather lengthy gaps in your speech, where you are forcing that bored voice you stole from someone else. Yes, I'm aware of that, as are many people in fact, because your natural speaking voice isn't this, is it now, Hasan? You actually have to force this. You can now argue, it's just a character then, can't you? But really, this is the real you. You're just using a different voice to make it seem like you're better than others. You're not English, and therefore you are not by default superior. You're welcome. Yes.
From the perspective of, I tried to convince my kid to watch it, but he says you're too old and bad at basketball. I said to him, wait, is that why you don't listen to me? He said, yes, thanks, Hasan. That's funny. I will also say this. Are
you fans of the kind of content where somebody dithers, delays, takes far too long to get to the point? Yeah. I mean, you watch me, so I guess some of you are. But in the context of Hasan with his rip-roaringly high professional, high quality, 10-hour daily streams of bleh and dead air, if you were able to take on board people's criticisms, if you were able to take on board, adapt and improve from what they tell you, you would be a better streamer. Because you're not, and let's not forget here, you are still very popular regardless of whether you could take it on board or not. If you could take it on board, you could actually be a champion for that kind of change where tolerance was a factor. While I will admit you're getting older, your hairline certainly confirms it. You are not at the old enough stage to justify encouraging much younger people to be incredibly violent, aggressive physically over things you barely yourself understand. And as an outsider, based on my own country's issues, these problems are apparently above your IQ level. You using idealist youth and fellow comrades in arms to drive home your points makes you look like the very person who's trying to destroy what leftist ideals are meant to be. Liberalism as a whole, as it were. It's why the popular vote went to somebody else. Because people got sick of this. And it happening now lends credence to the perspective of those in the mainstream who think more attention needs to be put onto the likes of you for the rhetoric you espouse. Because you can't take it on board and improve from it, it will keep happening. The criticism that is. And that is why it doesn't matter if someone's seen an entire stream of yours or not. You don't need to watch an entire stream of Hasan's to know what he really is. You really don't. The bits we see, the short, up to 2-minute clips from a 10-hour stream, are the only interesting things that happen, because the rest of it is beyond dull, spoken with no level of irony from me.
Okay. The sphere that we're in, I know several people who stopped watching you because of your take on raised cookies. Raised cookies? You mean Pokimane? See, this is what I mean. People are playing people are playing a game of telephone. My take on Poki's cookies were, of course they're expensive. Every single...
For those who don't remember, Pokimane's cookies were a direct rip-off of somebody else's cookies, and the only difference between hers and theirs was the added vitamin D. Because Pokimane, as is well known, is a big fan of D. So she marketed her cookies to those who don't get enough D in their life, so not her. The cookies were insanely expensive, and you couldn't justify that kind of price. You really couldn't. Not for what they were. With cost of living going up, this was taking the piss. You cannot justify it in the slightest, and Pokimane tried to play defense on this. Don't bother. The entire premise was to get more vitamin D, not just the D, well, I'm sure Pokimane is all too familiar with that based on stories, into your system, which means the biscuits were then, cookies even, were marketed towards those who don't go out often enough, introverts, perhaps the simps, who themselves were like, Bish, you're not showing us enough for this. Your slight smile, look to the side, facial expression all the time? Nah. Did Hasan defend this? Because I don't remember. If he defended Pokimane, honestly, that would have been, chef kiss right moment situation type deal.
Content creator is doing a content creator tax. Your hyper focus on Pokimane's cookies is not because you, I don't know. It's not, it has nothing to do with like anything serious. Is merch tax. People do it. I'm one of the few people that doesn't do it, ironically enough, and everybody yelled at me for it.
Oh my god, you're such a hero. Now, you may have noticed that when he switched scene, he highlighted that user and the follow-up messages. That is a tactic he does whenever he gets these differing opinions, because so much happens in his chat, understandably, he can't keep on top of it. Of course not. But he does hyper-focus on negativity. 100% he does. If he backed Pokimane over that, he's in the wrong. 100%. It's not creator tax, you're taking the piss. I have a Teespring that I never promote. Why? Because I've reduced the prices to the point where I would earn nothing just so you guys get merch, right? And the prices are still too high. It's ridiculous. It's beyond the pale. You may as well save your money and go and buy a shirt from a gig instead. Or take a screenshot of someone you like's livestream and just stick it with gaffer tape on a blank t-shirt. I'm not surprised though if Hasan backed Pokimane, because capitalism, the irony of it. He may claim he's not been involved just yet. I think the real reason is because if he did, his hypocrisy would be blatant and it wouldn't sell. It really wouldn't, because he'll jack those prices up. He's too contrarian for that yet, but when things start to decline, oh boy will he do it.